In today's video, we're going to be diving into a very interesting pattern. It's been going kind of viral. I've seen it on Facebook, but of course I follow a lot of weather people, so I'm unsure if you guys have seen or have not seen this, but we are in a kind of omega block pattern, which is going to be two cutoff lows, both in the west and the east. And for the most part, this doesn't look to last very long, and the impacts are going to be mostly stormy weather in the western cutoff low and the eastern cutoff low, with pretty nice weather in the middle. Outside of that, warmer temperatures mostly prevailing in the central and eastern states, but once this pattern breaks up, there is a chance that we move into a more cold pattern in the east, or cooler, I should say, and then warmer out west with a bit drier of conditions. We're going to be going over this among severe weather risks as well throughout the upcoming 2 weeks in this video. I'm excited to announce that I just released a brand new vlog. Right as you're watching this video, it is available on my Ashton Blue channel. You can check it out on the top right corner of your screen, the pinned comment and description down below. We went to Florida, we went boating, we went to a Disney resort, we went all sorts of places. We went to Disney Springs, it was awesome, and we saw and actually encountered a very intense thunderstorm that hit us while we were boating, and we had to get out of there really quickly. Okay, we might get hit actually. Rachel, what's going on?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck! Get us out of here! Check it out today. Subscribe to that channel, like I said, like the video and comment down below that video because it helps me out so much as I'm just beginning to grow that channel. It helps it get suggested to more people, which is very, very hard to do when you're first starting out. So that would mean the world to me if you guys would just go do those 3 things over on that channel. With all that being said, let's go ahead and dive into things. And we're taking a look at the 500 millibar height here anomalies. And this is going to show us overall where there's negative heights and positive heights. Typically, this is sort of associated with pressure, so you can imagine that. But we can see our jet stream is way up above right here. But we do get these cutoff lows, which means that it's really not even following the jet stream or being influenced by the jet stream. That is cut off from that. And this one, for the most part, is as well. So we have these 2 areas of disturbance, and again, this is going to influence a lot of our precipitation. We've had a lot going on here in the southeast as far as precipitation, and that looks to continue for a couple of days. In the west, this one's a little bit more progressive, but we have storminess out there that is going to move more into the southeast area over time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual precipitation, and we can see that this reflects exactly what we were just looking at. There is storminess near this cutoff low, and there is storminess definitely around this cutoff low area in the east. And again, we can see our jet stream is way up above, and they are cut off from it, is basically what that term means. Let's take it towards this afternoon, and we can see that there is still, this is by 5 p.m., some precipitation around in the east. And this area has moved more towards the 4 corner states. Again, this one's a little bit more progressive than the one in the east. And overall, in the central states, especially the north central states, we are looking at really beautiful weather, probably warmer, and definitely looking quite dry. So great conditions out there. Tomorrow afternoon on Monday, on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, we are dealing with this area of storminess beginning to become the more dominant one out west. This low is, the heart of it at least, located over Colorado. There is some high elevation snowfall ongoing, and then for the lower areas, we're dealing with rainfall or even thunderstorm activity. Don't be surprised if there's thunderstorms and even severe weather going on for East Oklahoma into Kansas, or East Colorado, sorry, into Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and maybe even eastern New Mexico there. That's going to be a pocket to watch. And thunderstorm chances continue for the east with this area of disturbance as well for Monday on the 5th. By Tuesday on the 6th, a lot of your eastern precipitation is moving further northward by this point. Still pretty cut off from the jet stream, but it is generally moving northward. So we see the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast primarily dealing with some unsettled weather there. We do see that the low is not very strong in the central states now. It was the western area, but now it's the central area by this point. We do have strong thunderstorms, though, for still East Colorado, East New Mexico, into Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and perhaps even the Florida Panhandle here by Tuesday afternoon. Also, some pretty significant snowfall for this time of year happening throughout Montana, parts of Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, and down into Colorado, and even the mountainous areas of New Mexico. And as we keep going towards Wednesday here on the 7th, we can see that again, this area that was the west, now the central, is progressively becoming more of an eastern area of storminess over time. Let's take a look here though. As you can see for the Central Plains, again, storminess prevailing for corner states into some of the Gulf states here as well. We're dealing with thunderstorms and overall unsettled weather. The northeast corner of the nation still dealing with that original area that was our cutoff low, but now the jet stream is getting very close to it, so it's probably going to latch onto that over time. So again, this is approximately, what would this be, 3 days out now. So we're going to be dealing with this pattern for about 3-4 days here overall. It is going to have a pretty big influence on the weather happening around the nation. Thursday afternoon on the 8th, this storminess is pretty much spread throughout the central and southeastern states. So some storminess continuing there. But notice the jet stream, it's a bit of a ridge over the central and west, and then we do get a little bit of a trough. And the keyword here is a little bit over the east. Looking towards Friday afternoon on the 9th, a lot of this thunderstorm activity is throughout the south central, deep south, and southeastern states. Keeping going. Saturday on the 10th, it does kind of flatten out and become more south-based. So again, thunderstorms from Texas eastward through the southern states. But the problem here is, at what point is this our original area of storminess? And at what point is this just typical thunderstorms in the deep south during the late spring? Because that is a very, very common occurrence. And I would argue it's more of the latter by this point. Just kind of the daily spark up thunderstorms happening. And here's what the model is picking up on. Moving towards Sunday on the 11th, I mean, same thing occurring here. We do have a bit of a ridge over the west and central states. And again, a bit of a trough in the east. So again, this is that trough that I do suspect could take over for after this Omega pattern has basically been said and done. So cooler conditions in the east is a decent possibility, and warmer conditions in the west seems to be very, very possible as well. As we take a look at Monday on the 12th, what we see is some storminess taking over for the deep southeast, also areas in the Midwest and Great Lakes there dealing with some of this. Still a bit cooler. As we take this towards Tuesday the 13th, a lot of the same. Wednesday the 14th, it's more of an east coast, from Florida to Maine, dealing with some storminess in here. Obviously, some thunderstorm threats will prevail in here. But since it is cooler, there's probably some areas that will be dealing with strictly showery activity as opposed to thunderstorms or severe weather. But we are beyond 10 days out, so a lot can change here. I'm not even entirely confident in the cooler pattern after, again, as we move towards later this weekend and next week. But it is looking like more and more of a possibility or even a probability at this point. But it's not entirely locked in. So to give you that idea, I mean, this could look very different if we're not in this very cool pattern. This could actually be quite a bit worse as far as thunderstorm and severe weather chances are concerned. Thursday here on the 15th, very quiet. There is some showery activity spread across different areas of the nation, but it is minor in nature. Friday on the 16th, we do see some heavier stuff going on for Idaho and Montana. Also for parts of the upper Midwest. Very cool in the Northeast. Even some Adirondack snowfall showing up. But again, I would take this with a grain of salt because this is 300 hours out. And that is a pretty interesting prediction. A stronger low begins to develop for Saturday the 17th here around Iowa. But mostly precipitation to the north of it. So I'd say there is some severe weather chance to the east of it here. And if anything develops to the south, where again, things can change significantly, that would also be quite significant as well. Moving towards the end of the model run, Sunday, Monday timeframe, 18th, 19th, we do see that this flattens out into the eastern states. And we look to get into a more active pattern where we have thunderstorm chances up and down the eastern seaboard, also for the deep south. And then we do have another storm system moving on shore to the west. Looking at the jet stream, it's still a ridge in the west, trough in the east here though. Total precipitation. Obviously, we have heavier stuff expected, some above average precipitation, but it's mostly here for the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, and then for the South Central states into the deeper Southeast. There is a little bit of a gap in between where we should be seeing below average precipitation, which is interesting. So it's two areas here of above and then in between is below. The west looks decent. Looking at the anomalies, a little drier there for the northwest, a little wetter for the southwest. Drier for sure for a lot of the central and northern plains into the upper Midwest. And then this does spread into parts of the lower mid-Atlantic or upper southeast, whatever you want to call that, as well as the lower Ohio Valley. Again, above average for those areas in northern Indiana, northern Ohio, southern Michigan, eastward into the mid-Atlantic and northeast, and then also for this deeper south area. Looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks, here's the day one outlook for today on Sunday, May 4th. Three general thunderstorm risk areas. There's a very small one in southern Texas there. These lighter green areas is where we expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. The three darker green areas there is going to be your level 1 marginal risk areas, where we expect isolated severe weather to occur, and then your yellow area there for New Mexico into Texas is your level 2 slight risk, where we expect a little bit more scattered about severe weather reports to come in. For tomorrow, on Monday, everything just shifts a little bit eastward, but it's almost the same idea here. 3 general thunderstorm risk areas, 3 marginal risk areas, and 1 slight risk there for Texas. Day 3 for Tuesday on the 6th. Again, we're not really moving too much here. 3 general thunderstorm risk areas, but only 1 marginal risk area and 1 slight risk there for Texas and a bit of Louisiana, again, Tuesday on the 6th. With all that being said, we upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.